Female Teacher in Special Classroom. Author, Agamora. Crossdress Small World, Part 5, The Motivation of a Female Teacher. One way out of the Black Pearl bar, Carrie was still blushing and quiet. I had to say to him, "Hey. You're a man, so am I, what's the matter with you blushing?" Carrie sputtered, "Because you. I can't see you're a man. Besides, can you take your hand off me?" I forgot that since I pulled Carrie out of the Black Pearl bar, I was still holding his hand. I hurriedly let go of his hand with an apology. Going to a roadside coffee shop, I ordered 2 glasses of fruit juice. Waiting for Carrie to calm down, I said, "Now can you tell me why you are involved in gang activity?" Carrie was silent for a moment and replied, "Because I feel inferior to my classmates. Although my family is not called poor but placed in the environment of all rich people, that makes me feel a trifle Lilliputian. That's why I joined the Black Pearl gang after being invited by a man in the neighborhood. Turns out he was seduced by his bad friend." On Carrie's mind, I fully understood, because I came from a poor family. Only I didn't have the will to prove myself, but only to focus on learning more knowledge. As for why this guy didn't go to part-time work like me to earn money and choose to do some not so clean gang stuff, I don't want to ask. Everyone has their own choices, and whether they're right or wrong, it's their own decision. Not to mention, doing these dark jobs will bring a greater source of income. For a guy who wants to fit into a wealthy community, this is a reasonable motive. I nodded in agreement with Carrie. "I can understand your initial motive. But later, you must know that your friends are not interested in your family. Then why don't you try to quit as soon as you can?" Carrie chuckled and scratched his head. "It's basically impossible. As you saw earlier, once you join the gang, you have no right to leave." I said, "So now that I have given you the opportunity to leave the gang, what is your decision?" Carrie shook his head. "I'm afraid it's not that simple. I know Dax's personality, he'll deal with us soon." I smiled, rubbing Carrie's head with my hand. "No need to worry. Though the heavens fall, I still support you." Carrie was stunned after hearing my words. A moment later, he clenched my hand and said in a firm voice, "Yes, thank you. I'll try to change." "But..." I leaned my head and asked, "But what?" Carrie said, "Can we leave this place? Everyone around seems to be looking at you." "I wonder, what's wrong with that?" Carrie blushed and said, "I don't want anyone but us to see your beauty. We paid for it with hard work, why can't they see it for free?" I was quite surprised to hear Carrie's words. I burst into laughter. Okay. So let's go." Since that day, Carrie had returned to school at regular intervals. Although it is still very difficult to keep up with his classmates' progress in class, I believe he will. But another problem came. Another student who was unexpectedly absent from recent classes was Dante, who had a smart face. At the end of that class, I walked over to Carrie as he was packing his notebooks. I sighed and said, "Why do you all always like to cause me trouble? About a week ago, I asked Dante about your situation, and now, your role has exchanged for each other. Do you know where he is now?" Carrie scratched his head and said, "Excuse me, Miss Dava, I don't know about this. In the past, I can ask the gang brothers to find out. Now it seems that the Black Pearl gang has dissolved." I was surprised myself. I sighed again. "All right, you can go home." Where can this guy go? What's he thinking about? In my impression, Dante is a calm, unpredictable young man. Even in my mind, Dante is the kind of person who doesn't flinch at anything. Then why is this guy cut class now? I don't want to think about it now. Maybe I'll come up with a concrete plan tomorrow. Now I want to go up to the school terrace to cool off a little bit, Maybe I can think of something. Sometimes, man popo godipo. When I was thinking about where to find Dante, I saw him watching the sunset right on the school terrace. Seeing me coming in, Dante turned his face, giving a gentle smile. "Hello, Miss Ava." I touched my face, shook my head and said, "Man, where have you been all these days?" Dante said, "I'm go around here." "So, I'm sorry I worried you." I expressed my suspicion. "Why did you cut class? What's wrong with you?" Dante smiled and shook his head. "No. It's just that I'm bored." I reached for my hands and clenched Dante's shoulders. "Look me in the eye. Tell me the truth." Dante was stunned to see my actions. But only a few seconds later, his face calmed down. He put a smile on his level-headed face. "There's nothing hidden from you. You're the only one I know so far that I don't want to hide anything. But I'm a bit bored, really." I still hold Dante's shoulder, "So you can talk to me. Maybe if someone listens, your mood will be better. And you don't have to show that level-headed face and a little false smile in front of me if you don't want to." Dante's smiling face suddenly slumped. Dante said, "Thank you. Because of my family situation, I've been showing this fake face for too long. I don't want that at all." I smiled. "Now tell me, why don't you want to study? You are not like Carrie, who is struggling to keep up with the progress of other classmates. You are an excellent student." Suddenly, Dante said in a loud voice, "What do I get if I'm an excellent student? In the end, I'm just a reserved pawn for my family." I was a little taken aback by Dante's words. It seems he realizes he's a little agitated. Dante lowered his voice, "Sorry. I just lost my temper. I just don't want to live a dull life like a machine anymore. Out there, so many people look at me with admiring eyes. They're jealous of my life. But no one really understands how I feel. I'm only the second child in my family. No matter how hard I try, I'm still a submissive one to my older brother. What good is it to be rich? What good is it to be talented? In the end, what I need is only freedom." From grip his shoulder, I held Dante's head in my chest, patting him on the head with my hand. I said, calm down, calm down. I won't try to admonish you with cliches like cheer up, this life isn't that bad. I'm not even qualified to give advice like that. Because, I'm not too interested in this life myself. I am a poor student, I am more than you in my freedom, unattached by my family. But in the end, I'm still living in a false freedom. This society is not fair to everyone. A poor man like me is silently bound by money, too. But you know what? Since being your homeroom teacher, experimenting with the bizarre educational method that I came up with myself, I've had a much better glimpse. For the first time, I felt good about the education I used to have was reluctant. For the first time, a guy with an extremely low EQ like me knew how to confide with my students. And for the first time, I experienced the life of a female teacher in a special classroom. I realized one thing, I didn't necessarily have to against the restraint of my freedom. I can fully accept it, as long as it doesn't affect my present day of life. That's enough. How about you? Did you still want to take a break from school, tell your family that you're resisting their intentions, or will you accept that and enjoy the joy of a short school age? Remember, the future is not fixed, sometimes even the tiniest things in the present will determine the future. The decision is yours. That's all I'm saying. After a moment of thinking about what I was saying, Dante said, "Yes, thank you for listening and sharing with me." "But," I said, "but what?" Dante said rushedly, "Can you let go of your hand? You keep doing this, I can't stand it." I startled to remember I was still holding Dante's head. I hurriedly let go. Unexpectedly, In front of my eyes right now is no longer Dante with a calm face. His cheeks are red. I exclaimed, "Why are you all the same? You're a man, so am I, what's the matter with you blushing?" To be continued. Today's story would like to stop here. Thank you for watching. Please like and share for people with similar interests to motivate me to develop my channel. Goodbye and see you in another story.